The use of mercury in Guyana's gold mining is decades old. The government has already begun to look at alternatives to the use of mercury in mining to make the industry safer for miners and regulators alike. In this Info Hub Extended, we reflect on the swift action taken by the government to address mercury emissions that affected staff at the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission Brick Dam Complex.
Over the past 30 years, the Guyana Gold Board has managed the trade of gold through buying and selling. General Manager Eondrine Thompson explains.
Whenever GGB buys gold, we deduct 5% royalties. In addition to that, we have all these documents that will be presented to us. For example, the production sheets. Miners bring production sheets to show what their production in the interior was like. Even the shop owners use the production sheets to record their bartering. And Guyana Gold Board, when there is no production sheet, Guyana Gold Board uses what we designed as a permission slip, permission to sell the gold. And this is taken on a daily basis by the GGMC. On a monthly basis, Guyana Gold Board prepares a check for the royalties received and remitted to GGMC.
The Gold Board accepts gold in two forms, sponge and smelted. Miners in Guyana often use mercury to amalgamate the gold when it is in the sponge form. This is not an unusual practice in the industry, but its negative effect became national news in April when a number of Guyana Geology and Mines workers became ill from exposure to mercury emissions. Swift action was taken by the Ministry of Natural Resources to address the situation. The Guyana Gold Board immediately stopped the burning of gold at the Brick Dam complex. This operation was outsourced to one of its dealers in the interim as it sourced new and improved facilities. The Ministry of Social Protection, through its Departments of Labor and Occupational Safety and Health, began the cleanup of the Brick Dam complex to mitigate the exposure. GGMC staff exposed to the mercury emissions are being continuously tested and treated. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman said the situation brought home the need for alternatives to mercury use in the industry.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman has made it clear that the mercury emission situation at the Brick Dam complex was not the fault of the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission or the Guyana Gold Board. However, the government received expert support from its international partners to ensure the cleanup was effectively done.
To ensure the effective cleanup of the Brick Dam complex, the Ministry of Natural Resources through the Ministry of Public Health enlisted the expertise of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. Minister of Public Health Valda Lawrence.
The Ministry of Public Health sees it fit to collaborate with our sister agency to ensure that we can be able to provide guidance on this matter and to provide the technical skills needed for us to investigate, for us to determine the challenges and the gaps which are faced by these agencies and to find solutions for them.
The team arrived in Guyana last month and comprised 2 industrial hygienists, 2 physicians, and a mining engineer. Leading the team during June was industrial hygienist Catherine Beacom.
The majority of our focus is going to be occurring on Thursday and Friday. So on Thursdays and Friday, we are going to be separated into the 2 teams. There'll be the medical team and then the on-site evaluation team. So Dr. Grimes and Dr. Yeoman will be speaking with some individuals about their health complaints and about health concerns, and I'll let Reed describe the remainder of his aspect. For us, we are planning on going to the facility and using a drone mercury vapor analyzer to walk through it to see if there is any more detectable levels of mercury in the facility. We also have surface sampling wipes. It's a colorimetric wipe so that we would be able to rub it on the top of the surface, and if there is mercury detected on it above a certain level, it will change to be a different color. One of the things that we do have to emphasize is that we are not here specifically to say it's safe to return. We're not able to say that. What we can say is what the current levels are based on our best measurements, and we can make recommendations to further reduce exposures if exposures are still occurring, and we can make recommendations on how to prevent employee exposure.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman said the team found non-threatening levels of mercury.
They did say that they found that the levels and the GGMC compound and its environs were below any threatening levels, and so that, I believe, is testament to the fact that the job was well done. And so I single out now Ministry of Social Protection for its work. But having come to this juncture, we now have to improve in the manner in which we amalgamate our gold, the way we store mercury, the way we wear or not wear correctly our protective clothing and other personal protection.
The mercury emission situation has been a wake-up call for the mining industry to adopt safer alternatives to mercury. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman noted.
I believe that this crisis, as it was a few months ago, now has presented an opportunity for us to clean up, in both the metaphorical and literal sense, the environment and the way we have been doing business.
The government has committed to eradicating the use of mercury in mining. It signed and ratified the Minamata Convention for the Eradication of the Use of Mercury in Mining in October 2013. The government will increase its efforts to eradicate the use of mercury in the mining sector, Minister Trotman said.
I got an email only yesterday from the United Nations Environmental Agency program, to have us be provided with assistance.
Over the years, the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission has been working with the mining associations to develop alternatives.
We are now in the process of unveiling a program with Conservation International, known as El Dorado Gold, to look at alternatives to mercury. It is an ongoing process, but the miners are convinced that mercury gives them their best returns. It is the government's job to work with them in finding alternatives which are viable and keep, of course, maximum accumulation of the gold.
Minister Trotman described the miners' support as important towards reducing dependency on mercury in mining. The ministry is making provisions to support artisanal and small-scale miners to adopt these alternatives.
And one of the matters we're going to be proposing in the 2019 budget is government actually buying some shaker tables. So like with the syndicates, which I think are better organized, we can actually give them, say, 5 tables amongst themselves to work. And if they work in a cooperative manner, we can get greater value in that way.
As the government works with international partners to develop safer alternatives to the use of mercury, the Guyana Gold Board has improved its facilities to ensure safer burning practices.
The Guyana Gold Board is now operating out of Crown Street following the mercury incident at the Brick Dam complex. General Manager Yondrine Thompson said new equipment was acquired to ensure the safe burning of gold.
We have sourced an equipment, that's the mercury control equipment. It has been vetted by the PAHO WHO experts who were here.
The equipment is being installed and tested by ACT Labs. General Manager Kevin Gomes explained how it will work.
So in this mercury abatement system, we have 3 recovery or checkpoints. In all 3 of those positions, mercury can be recovered. The first one would be a condensation unit where the mercury vapor passes within stainless steel tubes, and there's cold water within that water jacket. So mercury passing within the fumes are condensed and trapped in one position. Then the fume continues up to a high-speed venturi system where there's a other scrubbing system that then takes out particles and any mercury. From there it passes to the water tank, which cools the air and goes through the final checkpoint of an activated carbon checkpoint.
Gomes said any mercury that is released after processing would be way below the admissible level of 50,000 nanogram. This new equipment, which costs in excess of $18 million, is much more advanced than that used at the Brick Dam complex. Thompson assured that the strictest safety protocols will be followed.
I am very confident that this will work because the daily checks will be in place, the equipment to ensure that even if there is any emission, it will give the indication and we will immediately stop burning.
The Gold Board is currently live testing the mercury control equipment using smelted gold. Thompson explained the board has put a temporary halt on the purchase of sponge gold.
I've issued notice in the newspapers and on the electronic media to say we're only purchasing smelted gold because the system is not fully tested and they're still working on that.
Thompson added the Gold Board has been meeting with residents around the facility to personally give safety assurances.
And I will never ever want any mercury emission to be affecting this community. I will never. As much as I am for the country not losing foreign exchange, because you would realize that Guyana Gold Board is one of the major foreign exchange earners in Guyana. So I would like to preserve that and make it more advancing, but not at the expense of anyone's health.
Minister Trotman said his ministry will continue working with miners using mercury in their operations. He added the government is also exploring issuing permits to dealers burning gold.
We have to ensure that the EPA is also regulating these, and so we said to the gold dealers that they will now be required to have an environmental permit issued by the EPA on a yearly basis if they're going to be licensed by the Gold Board to be dealers. So we are adding yet another layer of regulation, because we don't want to know that whether it be in Robb Street or in First Avenue, Bartica, people are at risk.
Chairman of the Gold Board, Gabriel Lal, reiterated that the board will overcompensate to ensure burning practices are safe and healthy for the surrounding environment and those who use the facility.
You have been watching InfoHub Extended. Do join us again.
The future of Guyana has never looked better. Our nation is on the cusp of a development program like never seen before. While Guyana is now emerging as an energy giant through the discovery of massive reserves of oil and natural gas, it is your government's intention that the huge benefits emerging from this will go where it matters most, to you, the people of this beloved country. There is a surge of confidence in the way Guyana is governed once again, and the level of investor interest is unprecedented. Guyana is poised to become the breadbasket of the region, and the pace at which this nation will grow through prudent fiscal management will be nothing short of impressive. But more than anything else will be the way every Guyanese, regardless of color, class, or creed, becomes a part of this historic period of national transformation, sharing in the wealth and well-being of it all as one Guyana.